Hello everybody, this is Magnum Pi. I'm here with Teku Golgoth of Holle and Dark Templar, and we are Initiative Zero. Thanks for tuning in with us. We're going to play some more Rifts, and yeah, it's been a good time so far. If you like what we've been doing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you want to be notified, hit the bell. Give us some chatter in the spaces down below here so that we can see and hear and, I don't know, interact with you. If you really want to interact with us, we hang out on our Discord all the time. Come by, say hello. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't. And tell your friends, because we just keep growing, and we'd like to have even more people who want to get together to play some games that are not D&D, to really explore what's out there tabletop-wise. And like I said, we're back to Rifts here, where we have our Leyline Walker, our Cybernite, our Mind Melter, and our Good Boy, all ready to, fight a demon because of you're on a ley line meditating, something like that, right? Am I wrong here, guys?
You're accurate. Yep.
Cool. Because Portland, you wanted a spell. I think that's why you're meditating.
Yeah.
But you all wanted to get together to also plan your approach.
Precisely.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you guys, you set up camp. You're there on the ley line. When you're on a ley line, Lex, your senses are it's almost impossible for you to detect other magical things and psionics. The amount of energy on that ley line, it just basically washes out your senses. It's not the most comfortable of sensations.
How far away from a ley line do I have to be to have that? Like, for that kind of uncomfortableness to go away?
It kind of starts. I'm just gonna look it up real quick. It's more spelled out with the Psi Stalkers, but it's pretty much the same sort of thing. One sec.
I guess kind of what I'm wondering is that if Portland wants to go to the ley line, that's fine. But for everybody else, for Lex, myself, for Senate, if we can kind of stay, 100 meters or 150 meters off the ley line, something like that, and just kind of keep a watch, and then not have to, and then still kind of be comfortable a little bit.
Yeah, so the way it works is if you are within 2 miles of a ley line, your abilities are hampered to a degree. So if you're within, first of all, the presence of other PPE sources like Portland, who has quite a significant amount of PPE, Sir Luke even, can confuse your sense. So you're kind of minus 10% already, but just hanging out with these guys. Close proximity to a ley line will reduce your ability to track a specific psychic scent by half. Close proximity to a nexus, that's within 4 miles of a nexus, will completely obliterate the scent, making it impossible to find or pick up later. So it's not so terrible being at a ley line, but it's kind of like a dull throb. So you being there to be helping defend and plan is not a bad idea. Just realize that your senses are slightly hampered. That's all.
I was just wondering if it would be worth to do any of that.
Well, talk to the group here.
Okay, so I want to turn to
maybe reiterate it for everybody, just so they might have thought you were just talking to me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So Sir Luke, where are we going to set up our camp here? I hope we're not doing it right on the ley line.
No, probably wouldn't be a good idea, but I want to at least be within sight distance of Portland.
Well,
yeah, we could be a fair distance away and still be in sight distance.
And able to get to him in a relatively quick manner.
It's in a forest, though, right? So it's not, you can't be too far away and still see him.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like within line of sight in a forest is still, if you weren't on the ley line, you'd be right beside it pretty much. Like ley lines can be quite wide, right? Anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 feet. This one's 1,000 feet wide.
So, okay, 1,000 feet wide, and how long?
This one, I believe, was running something like 40 miles or something like that.
Okay.
That's
Is that
at
fairly
least what.
big, or is that...
No, they can be much bigger. They can be much bigger.
Okay.
Ley lines, yeah, they can run for hundreds of miles, and can be quite wide. They can be miles high. They are. Like when the cataclysm came about, the ley lines, when they first erupted, were like 3 miles high. And, there's some ley lines that are a mile wide and can run hundreds of miles. So they can be rather big. They can also be rather small, right? Only like, they can go under, they can be partially underground. There's even ley lines in space, all sorts of stuff. Not that you know as much about that, but Portland knows stuff like that and can probably be the one filling you in about all these things. So,
Casual conversation along the road.
Yeah.
Well, what do you suggest, Lex?
Well, ultimately, like, I want to be at a distance too, that if stuff comes through that ley line, or there's other things that kind of sense Portland there, that we can kind of sense them. I get, wanting to be present for help defend Portland, but at the same time, I want to be at a spot where we can target those things safely, or see them coming from a little bit of a distance.
Well, I mean, what do you say if we were about, I don't know, 600, if we were around 1,200 feet, that is a decent distance. Do you think that's too close?
I don't know, GM. Can we still see him in a forest from 1,200 feet away?
I just know that I was going to say. I'm just going to say.
I'm going to say probably not.
Okay, well, how about
that's
600?
like a quarter mile away, right? Like,
okay, 600 feet then.
Yeah, like it's hundreds of feet range with intervening trees and stuff. It's still,
I suppose.
Yeah, like it's. I mean, you saw like this is what the forest looks like again.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, I was just saying at 1,200 feet, I could get to him in at least 2 rounds. So.
Like how far do you think you're looking there before the brush and bush kind of, you found a bit of a clearing, but it's not like it's a wooded area now, right? It's forest, uncleared forest that's been growing for 300 some years. So,
and we could take our mega damage weapons and create holes through it, but I think that would probably be a poor idea.
You could. The crashing of the trees, of course, and everything like that would certainly alert a lot of things that are around that something's there. But you could do that.
We probably would avoid that. Let's avoid doing that.
Yeah, and your horse is not the most steady either. Okay, like even you guys, when you're on the ley line, there's kind of a sense of foreboding. Now, the way rifts work is they typically work at ley line nexuses, where 2 ley lines or more ley lines. A super nexus is where 3 or more ley lines cross, but where 2 cross, it's a regular old ley line nexus. That's where rifts typically open up, unless there's some sort of celestial event like in a planetary alignment or an eclipse or something. Then they can tear open on ley lines themselves. But ley lines typically don't have a rift. They're a conduit of magic energy. So Portland, while you're here, your spells have an increased range and duration of 50%. Senate and Lex, your psychic abilities, I'm just going to jump to it real quick. They're increased as well, right? The effects of ley lines there. You can draw an additional 1d6 plus 1 ISP every round that has to be used in that round. And in addition, your potency, your range and duration of your psychic powers are increased by 50%. By double, because you're actually on the ley line. And you also get an additional die of damage to any psychic powers that do damage. So just realize that this there's a lot of energy, magic energy here.
I'm like a fucking Super Saiyan, essentially. They're saying.
Well, you are drawing an additional 20 PPE every 15 seconds, and you can store up to
Oh my god.
640, right? Like,
Sweet. There's got a builder.
so yeah. So after a little while, you're just going to be at 640 PPE after a very
That's
short
awesome.
period of time. After a few minutes, like, so you can cast some pretty powerful spells
Yeah, I can.
once you learn them. Yeah. So that's kind of where you guys are. Portland, you're going to begin the meditation process, right? You probably walk a little ways away from these guys because they're going to be planning and the like, and you enter into your meditation. You have the ability to drift on the ley line, which means you can just kind of float in the air on the ley line.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. And you can float
Hey,
as high as you need to. And yeah.
I could do things. I could do the things with ley lines too, can't I?
You've got some sensing ability, right?
Right. Yeah.
Let's take a look at your
Can I-
skills real quick.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Can I float?
I don't believe so. Or sorry, your abilities. You've got ley line phasing, so you can teleport just like he can.
Okay.
You know how to operate dimensional pyramids if you come upon one. But yeah, and you can sense rifts and ley lines just like he can. But you, yeah, and you can teleport on them just by envisioning it. So you and Portland have similar abilities on that. But he can tell you that there's no nexus attached to this line. It doesn't intersect another line.
Yeah.
And it runs northwest and southeast. Or sorry, northeast and southwest, rather, is the direction that it runs. Anybody have their navigation skill?
Yeah, I've got that. Let's
I think
see.
Lex, you just got one of those too, right?
Well, I have land navigation, and then I have astronomy and navigation. So I got a couple of things here.
Roll whichever one is higher, I guess.
So
Astronomy is 30%, land navigation is 70.
yeah, land navigation. Here we go. Nope.
No, right. But Lex, you know where you're at, kind of as you're walking.
Lex knows what's up.
Yeah, and when Portland tells you the information about the line that he found, that it's a general direction of travel and its length, you basically understand that given where you're at and where the ruins are located in southwestern Ontario, that this ley line essentially connects the ruins of Guelph to the ruins of Cambridge, which is just near Kitchener-Waterloo. Right, so it connects those two ruins. Luckily, there's no nexus, which means it's not intersected by another ley line. But for those of you that are able to teleport, you could teleport between these two ruins or anywhere in between the two along this ley line very quickly. So you can travel rather quickly via the ley line.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you can teleport, right? But if you can't, then
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you teleport? Is it possible to take other people, or can you only teleport yourself?
Well, let's take a look at the ability. What does it say? Ley line phasing. It says, you can also walk a ley line and float above the ground just like a ley line walker can. So you can also do that. Can you bring anything with you? He can only teleport himself and his possessions, nobody else. Now, you can get clever and creative with this. For example, if you were able to shrink yourself down to be in somebody's pocket, for example, you become a possession, kind of, right? Like, but
Is that what we want to do, guys?
No, I'm just saying, like, there, being creative gets rewarded. That's all.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah. Well, I'm just meditating for now, so I'm not really paying attention to what they're doing. They have
Cool.
a plan.
All right, so Portland begins his meditation floating in the air in the ley line, up near the lowest boughs of the trees.
Well, while he's doing that, I'll kind of keep guard, at least nearby, because if we're going to camp a little bit further away, but at least I can keep an eye on him.
Sure.
Well, since you're providing Overwatch, we're here to keep an eye on him and figure out this demon as best we can.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see exactly what I can do because we didn't really get eyes on it before. We don't really, like, we're going off of your knowledge of demons. And I'd rather try and figure out some specifics.
Okay.
So if you can keep an eye on him and keep an eye on me, I will grab a seat on the floor and I will attempt to use clairvoyance. Because if the ley line is jacking his powers up a little bit, maybe they'll do the same for mine.
Yeah, sure. And so I'm just going to do a random roll here. So it has given you an additional 2 ISP, so just reduce the cost of the clairvoyance by 2, and that's how much you have to pay. So you're concentrating, you're thinking about a particular person, event, or place. You have not encountered this thing beyond the roar, right?
No.
So
Well, but he did see it in the vision, though.
I did?
oh, that's right. You did encounter it through your object read, so
Ah.
that counts. Okay,
Woohoo!
sure.
Thank
So
you.
you've spent your ISP. So you should have a skill on your skill list now called clairvoyant or clairvoyance that you can roll. All right,
Woohoo!
and you are trying to what? You're trying to get a glimpse of the future. Can you roll 6d6 for me just to see how long this lasts?
Sure.
All right, 19 rounds. So divide that by 4, so roughly 5 minutes. However, you have double duration on the ley line, so about 10 minutes, 9.5 minutes you have. And you're concentrating on that creature that you saw in your vision from the object read. And you get an image of you standing in front of a large stone building with spires and a circular center window. The blue-white glow of magic energy lines intersecting right on this building. Large wooden double doors, arched doors. After at the top of several steps, basically lie broken open and falling forward. When you peer inside, you see a large empty chamber with pillars holding up an arched ceiling, windows blown out long ago, and far down on the other side of this extended building, as your vision kind of moves through the door, these fallen wooden doors. You walk slowly. You can see porticos and small rooms or open rooms off to the side that have kind of iron gates on them. Garbage littered around in here, and as you move closer, what you can see is heaped up on the sides are piles of body armor, vehicles, piles of shiny objects, basically kind of a treasure trove on either side. And seated up on a dais in what seems to be a rather makeshift throne is the Thornhead Demon. It's, again, about 12 feet tall, and it sits up on a raised area, steps leading up, and there are others there in front of it who are bowing down and worshipping it as it smiles and with a very nasty blade-like teeth in its grin. Its 2 tentacular extensions of its cheeks kind of snake up and down as it laughs when it sees you walk in, and it motions to you. Its worshippers stand up and turn and face the door. Magical energy swelling up around them in their hands, and that's when your vision ends.
Oh. Well, given that this took like 20 odd minutes.
Yeah, it's
I'll,
I'm just going to say that there's kind of you guys, a part of your vision of 20 minutes is walking there, right, through the ruins and things like that, and
Well, I was just gonna say
slowly
before
walking through the entranceway of this place. And all right, so Sir Luke and Lex, there you are. Portland meditating, Senate apparently meditating.
So I think Sir Luke is sitting there watching the ley line where Portland is meditating. I'd kind of want to sit close-ish to Sir Luke, but watching the other direction. So I'm kind of watching what's behind him, and he's watching what's behind me.
Okay.
But I'd also want to try and camouflage myself just in some trees and, get branches and all that kind of stuff to lay across the top of me so that I, maybe can't be seen as well.
Okay, so kind of like make a blind, sort of?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Give me a roll on your camouflage skill.
Ooh, that's a low one. Far from it.
So you do build a blind and stuff like that. It's just you don't do it well enough that it's going to affect camouflage, but it can provide cover. That is, if you were ambushed in some fashion, you could dive behind it and they couldn't see you, right? But they'll see that there's a blind there, right? Like it's not that it's hidden. So if they were looking, they'd be like, hey, look at all those branches all piled up there, right? So as opposed to it just blending in with the natural surroundings. But you spend some time doing that. Sir Luke.
So, as he's doing that or as he's working, I'm just going to kind of casually. So so I don't want to cause you any difficulties or anything, but when did you leave?
When did I leave what?
Coalition.
I don't know. 1 year, 7 years. They're all kind of the same, right?
Fair enough. And you've been kind of running since?
Yeah. Sometimes moving faster than others. If I get a spot that I can kind of lay low and hide out, I've done that. I haven't really had a group that I've kind of worked with like you guys, though. Typically just been on my own.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So,
well, it can't have been easy for you.
no, it hasn't. I know that if I'm seen, it's basically a shoot on sight. There's no going back to face a military court or anything like that. It's if I'm seen, they start firing.
Yeah, that's the nature of the coalition. Evil as hell.
I guess so.
So, what are your plans? Like, obviously, I don't want to dig any too deep. I mean, are you trying to get anywhere specifically, or just stay away from them?
I don't know. I thought kind of going back to the place I was created, that Lone Star complex for the coalition states, but that's a pretty big travel away from me. So we'll see if I end up there. Maybe free some of the other dogs that they're kind of working on.
And at that, I kind of look at him and kind of raise my eyebrows and go, "That's very noble."
Yeah. Well, for what if you ever see it, for what they put you through, it's the question is it worth it?
Well, I couldn't even imagine. If you do, if that's something you choose to do, if you're willing, I'll go with you.
I mean, it's a few thousand miles away.
Well, I've got nowhere to go in particular.
Well, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
See, right now it's just a day at a time. We'll see what happens when we fight this other thing. We'll see what happens. If we can get out of here. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, whatever this thing is, well, I guess it's a thorn demon. It's called. Based upon what Senate said, it's pretty powerful. Um, not gonna lie, I'm nervous.
Well, I've seen some pretty powerful things, but with the coalition, they don't really care about the dog boys. They just send us in and wave after wave after wave, and
Your
they
fodder is
don't
what
care
basically.
pretty much. And if we get one shot, awesome. If we get two shots, even better. And they don't care how many of us they have to lose in order to get one or two shots per.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's the nature of that government. It's evil, mistreatment of people, and anything else. So, yeah, I don't blame you for running. You did the right thing.
Well, sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I wonder if I should have run. Sometimes I should wonder if I should have just started firing from where I was. But I know I wouldn't have lasted long.
Well, I think life is important. I think maintenance of life and survival is always an important thing. It's what makes us, and I kind of smile at him, kind of what makes us human. And I think you're in that category as well.
We'll just see how things go here with Portland and Senate and yourself. I mean, like I said, I've been without much of any other contact for the last while.
Well, I hope that we've at least been somebody you've developed some trust for.
That's why even when we're at that trading post, I try and stay away from all of that conversation. Your friend Portland there really likes to talk, and I try and stay away from all of that.
So I kind of laugh and go, yeah, he really does like to talk.
I'm imagining
You're
Portland just floating there going, I can still hear you guys.
Fuck you guys.
It's not an insult. It's just like Portland.
Not genuinely here.
The
Portland
coalition is evil, and the coalition makes a stew.
No, Portland genuinely amuses me. I really like Portland.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like, there's no ill will there at all. It's like he does like to talk, though.
All right, cool. So
with that last comment from Sir Luke, I'm just gonna like turn to kind of the direction I was facing and just kind of stare into that void.
all right.
I'm like, it's like he didn't really say anything that I can respond to, so I'm just like gonna stop talking.
I look over and just kind of nod my head. I go, yeah, he's the strong silent type. I can respect that.
Cool. All right. So you guys talk with each other a little bit and, just, I don't know, try to pass the time as you're on watch. Senate, you come out of your trance.
Good. The first thing I see is Lex sitting there, poorly camouflaged, with a couple blades of grass on his head.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's. You come out of it and it's like, where is Lex? Oh, there he is.
He's somehow more visible.
Yeah.
So given what I saw, before I sort of lose that clarity in my own head,
Mm-hmm.
can I do a pre-riffs general history on the nature of the ruins that I saw to try and identify what kind of structure that might have been in the old days?
Sure. Yeah, you could do a pre-riffs history check to try to identify that type of structure. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, it looked like an important place, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't really
Yeah.
have any familiarity with the architecture.
Nope, that's fine.
You'd recognize it
case-
again if you saw it, but you don't
Yeah.
necessarily know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
In that case, I shall huff, dust myself off for no reason, and then stand up, make a bit of a show of it, and explain to the two what I just saw.
So
right.
he's got servants too.
Magical
Oh,
worshippers. I don't know that you can call them. They're almost worse than servants.
yeah, no, that is true. Magical worshippers.
Sitting on
That's
a military surplus stockpile.
well, that's going to make things significantly more challenging.
I guess I want to qualify that it wasn't predominantly arms and armor, but those are some of the things that you noted.
Oh,
but it's
so
also valuable things to the people of this day, right? So
it's on so it's living on a trove. Seemingly, it's just been either ill-gotten gains or some sort of supplication or whatever.
Well, that makes things a lot more challenging, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think this I don't think this is a quick fix.
No,
How many things would we be facing here?
Well, the Thorn Demon, which on its own seems staggering at best, and a number of worshippers, each of whom appeared to have magical abilities. I mean, clearly I can tell you this Thorn Demon is sentient. This Thorn Demon is evil. Like, this is an intentional form of wanton destruction. And I don't know that this is something that we can ignore, but in equal measure, I don't know that this is something we're equipped to deal with.
But the most important question is, how's the stew?
Didn't see any stew.
Okay.
Which is almost most worrying of all.
Well.
So I don't know how Cyber Knights work. Do you guys have like is there a network that you can reach out to get additional Cyber Knights? Do you guys typically rock heavy artillery? Can we call in like an airstrike?
That's actually a good question. I mean, I from what I understand, Cyber Knights are generally kind of lone, warriors, but they do work in teams when there's something particularly challenging, right?
Well, I would say this qualifies.
So, Magnum, does that mean I have potential access to a
not insubstantially sized army?
So,
what he said.
So Cyber Knights tend to be knights errant, so they are trained and they are sent out to right wrongs. They will convene again, right, once in a while. Sometimes they go out in pairs, but most often Cyber Knight will do what you've done and gather a group of heroes around him to right wrongs and defend the innocent and live up to your code of chivalry. But often, like you could go back to the monastery you were trained at to try to rally additional Cyber Knights, but it's not that...
it's a bit of a distance, too.
You don't have quite the pull of rank or anything like that let's say a more experienced Cyber Knight would have, right?
Right.
You're known among Cyber Knights, right? They will recognize you. Especially an Atlantean Cyber Knight, you have a bit of I don't know, fame and
notoriety.
That regard. Well, not necessarily notoriety, but you're known, and you're notable, but you may not have enough influence to rally troops to go fight a demon, right? They might be like,
I'm still kind of a rookie, right?
Yeah, they might be like, well, find other heroes to fight the demon, right? Like you can't come running back to the Cyber Knights every time there's a demon to fight, and sometimes these things are not. Right? Yeah, sometimes these things take a while to conquer. It's not like it's you just ride in and kill things, right? You might need some strategy. They might, you think back to your training, the things that they were told you, or said things you were told rather. The strategies that there are foes that you can't just take on in a direct confrontation, right? There are other ways. So.
Well,
so I'll recount that to him.
Well, I understand, I suppose. It's just kind of unfortunate. So with the information I've been able to glean, This is a much more complicated situation than even it was at the beginning, and it was already fairly complicated.
Yeah, no, if there's worshippers and acolytes, then particularly if they're magical, that makes...
We will have to wait for Portland. He might be able to give us some insight as to how best to deal with them. I have a couple of ideas. I might be able to deal with one, maybe two. But if this thorn demon is at all, I don't know, engaged with the situation and it attacks at the same time as his followers, I don't see how we contend with all of that at once. So it might be worth attempting some kind of a divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Couldn't Portland just do some of that magic shit like he did last time? Like we were all ready to fire it. And he just throws
Yelling at us from
throws-
30 feet in the air.
and he just throws a net over top of it, or
But you have to remember that we're dealing with basically multiple Portlands. They're going to be throwing that back just as quick.
Or do we? I don't know. Do we kind of wait in the trees around and pick them off one by one?
That might be the move, if only to soften them up a bit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This kind of tactical and planning, like I said to Sir Luke, isn't really a strength of mine. We were just told what to do, where to go, and most of us died, so the strategies must not have been very good.
I mean, what I'm suggesting is more akin to, I guess, guerrilla warfare, which, I'll be honest, I can understand the designation, but as far as coming up with a specific plan, that's beyond me.
So whose responsibility is it going to be to come up with a plan?
Well, we can put our heads together and come up with, basic points of ambush, and we can do a more protracted recon. And the problem with that is I have no idea how long that would take. I
Well,
have no idea what they're doing. I mean, it didn't look to be a ritual. I don't know that, aside from the danger to the region, there's no need to rush. But at the same time, this is still a demon. This is a force of evil.
Speaking of which, because you're at second level, you could do another demon and monster lore check to see what you know about Thornheads.
Depends on who has that skill.
Well, you, plural, could do it.
Oh, can we all do it again?
Well, if you're all at second, like you've all leveled up since the last time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't have it.
I still don't have it yet.
All right, let's do it then. Let's
I
go.
may not even get it the next time I level up because I've already figured out what I want.
Man, I am not rolling well.
No. So, yeah, you don't have much more information that you can recall based on what Senate's vision kind of spurred. And once Portland's done meditating, you can probably ask him if he knows anything else about them. But as it stands now, the three of you are pretty much there, kind of tossing ideas around and speculating on certain things that could or could not happen. But I want you, the three of you, to actually all give me a perception check.
Oh, God.
Actually, I want Portland to give me a perception check as well. But Portland, when you're on the ley line, your perception bonus is doubled. So just when in the modifiers, just add it again.
Okay, perception check.
Front page.
Yeah, I see it. So wait, my perception's 2 then? Is that what you're saying? Oh, but when I roll, I just times it by 2? What do you want me to do?
I guess you have a +1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just add 1 then. So you rolled a 12, right? So
really? Ugh, gross.
That's all right. I think I got it.
Yeah.
Obviously, on his ley line, I perceive shit all.
Yeah, so the three of you, Lex, Sir Luke, and Portland, are just you. Lex and Sir Luke, you may be conversing and plotting. Well, that might not work. Well, this could work. Senate's kind of just thinking there. Portland, you're tranced away. But Senate, what you hear in the back, in the distance, really faintly, sounds like explosions. You'll hear like boom, then boom, boom. Almost kind of like fireworks going off, right? They're kind of that staccato, unpredictable pattern of explosion, and then it's quiet.
I'll hold my hand up to the others.
Stop talking and look. What is it?
And I will describe. Did you just hear a series?
And when you hear
explosions?
that, you hear this massive, all of you, this massive explosion. It's just boom, and it's to the north of where you are right now, and it's loud.
And at the massive explosion, I will just very slowly side eye and say, "That."
Yeah, I heard that.
From where I am, do I see that?
You can't see that. It'll pull you out of your trance unless you roll a 20-sided die and roll under your mental endurance.
Oh.
So give me a
You know what, I'll
20-sided die.
pass on that.
Oh no, give me a 20-sided die. You don't necessarily have a choice in that, but
Are you any bonuses?
no, just a raw 20-sided die, just to see if your mental endurance allows you to maintain focus. Yeah, that's under your mental endurance. So
Sweet.
you're still in your trance. You heard it, but you were able to put it out of your mind. Huge explosion off to the north is what you guys hear.
Do you want to take a look?
I don't know that we should
Been
leave.
before.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Sorry, I was just wondering if that was a direction that we'd been before, like the
No,
north.
it's on the other side of the ley line from where you came. So it's past
Oh, okay, so we
further
have to
past the
go
ley
through
line. Yeah.
Do you think you go up in your bike and see from a distance? You think?
I can go do some recon. I am hesitant to leave everyone here on a ley line. I suppose as long as Portland is willing to cut this short in an emergency and run when needed, yeah, I can go have a look.
Yeah, I just want to. I'm just curious to see what that might have been. Maybe there's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you both want to stay here, or does one of you want to come with me? I've got room for one more.
Well, literally,
Which one
you
do
could
you-
get on your hover cycle and just hover up 120 feet.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
more eyes are better eyes is the point I'm getting to.
True. Yeah.
I'll
Not my eyes.
Yeah, I'll hop on. Would you mind if I hop on?
And I will scoot forward. And I will probably bag myself on one of the dials and or knobs.
Well, there goes that perception check.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Take some deep breaths.
All right. So you start up the bike and bring it up, and so you are well
I don't
above
have any. Oh, actually, hang on. I'll start the bike before I go up. Who's got optics?
What do you mean optics?
Like a firearm scope?
Oh, I do.
Binoculars?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. Make sure you bring that, please.
Yeah, done.
And then going up.
All right. So you go up, and
All right, Atlantean, what do your elf eyes see?
yeah, and you're above the tree line here.
Atlantean. what are you talking about?
Actually, that's fair. I probably wouldn't know
Yeah,
that.
you don't know he's an Atlantean.
I also wouldn't know to make the Lord of the Rings reference, but I'm glad that's what we object to.
That's you are a mind melter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know things. Anyway, so you bring your bike up and hold it steady there above the tree line. Both of you can give me a perception check.
That's better.
Yeah. So, Sir Luke, what you see off in the distance is a a line of smoke quite a ways away, and you also see small flashes of light down closer to the trees, but very faint.
So I relay that information.
Yeah, and you point it once you point it out to Senate. You can make out the smoke, but you can't see the flashes beyond you.
What do you see through your scope?
Yeah, what do I see?
You see the tops of the trees. Really, the flashes are a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, the flashes are a bit brighter, but they're hot. I guess you have an infrared scope, or what do you?
I don't know whatever the scope would be for the what is it? What I got the combats. The
Wilkes 447.
447. Yeah.
I don't know if it has a scope.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought it did.
Nope, I don't think.
Because the range is 2,000 yards.
2,000
I think
feet.
it'd have a scope.
2,000 feet.
That's the ordinance
2,000
range.
feet. 2,000 feet. I mean, you'd think that it would still have a scope if you're going to be able to shoot that far.
Oh, let's see what it says. Wilkes 447. Nope, no scope.
Oh,
Okay.
Doesn't come with a
so
scope.
I don't have a scope. Sorry.
Nope, that's fine.
Yeah.
Lying to me.
Doesn't really give you. It wouldn't have given you much more,
Oh,
basically, because it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're looking into a forest. So
All right.
Does my heavy assault laser rifle have a scope?
it certainly does.
So, I mean, I think I would have given it to them.
Sure, that's
if he
fine.
looked
We
at
can
his
say that.
Wilkes
Yeah.
and it's like I don't have
Yeah,
one.
it was brought up. Yeah.
Yeah, and you also have infrared binoculars. I think somebody does. Yeah.
Yeah,
do
I
not.
do.
Yeah, you could have given. Yeah, Lex could have given those things. Right.
I don't know what the
2
range
mile,
is on
2 mile
those.
range on the binoculars.
Okay, so better than the scope.
Yeah, and they're infrared, which means they can pick up heat and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we're seeing the pops of heat from some sort of
Yeah,
presumably weapons fire.
yeah. There's a glow of heat on the horizon there, where the smoke's coming up, and the flashes of light kind of are a little bit more intense because they're hot.
I mean that could be anything. That could be coalition. That could be
So could we kind of make an educated guess as to what it could be based upon what we're seeing, what we're hearing? Like what kind of who else would have this kind of firepower? Like the coalition certainly would.
Based on what you're seeing, anybody with a laser would have that kind of firepower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The
there's
explosion.
not, like-
The explosion could be anything exploded. Maybe
Yeah.
a vehicle exploded, or
yeah.
something was set off.
We've
Or,
thinned the herd to literally anyone. Okay.
yeah, like it's there. You have something exploded. It caused fire. So, if it was a vehicle containing some sort of fuel, that could be something. It was a very loud explosion. Like it's far away, so it was a big explosion, whatever it was. But Senate, you did hear smaller explosions just happen before
Leading
that.
up to it. Yeah.
And now you're still seeing lights flashing, right? There's something still going on there, but nothing else has exploded. So,
I mean, we could. For starters, how far away from the nearest ley line nexus are we now that we're up in the air?
Sir Luke, do you have
Because
the ability to sense ley line nexuses?
Yeah, I believe I do.
Let's see. Abilities.
Because that was one of the things in the vision, I suppose.
Yeah, let me just
So-
see what he's got. Sense rifts and ley lines. You can sense a nexus up to 10 miles away.
Oh,
So,
okay.
let's see.
So while we're here, we might as well try and get a bearing on where this thorn demon is, just to try and confirm that these explosions are in fact not the thorn demon.
Oh, no,
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, they are. So,
That could be someone shooting at the thorn demon.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
We don't know. Maybe my wish for Glitter Boy showing up actually came true and the whole problem solved itself.
Is that the direction that the thorn demon was in though?
Well, I don't know exactly where it was. I gotta
Like
look at it.
I'm thinking the direction of the ruins. It's like we didn't cross a ley line to get to the ruins, and if this ley line is so massive,
Yeah.
Well, the
no-
ley line. The ruins. The ruins featured a nexus, an intersection of ley lines.
But
And so I figured,
you didn't see it from where the altar was that you offered the sacrifice was offered at, and you did not cross the ley line to get there. So the nexus, you don't sense. So Sir Luke, you don't sense a nexus within your range.
Okay.
that's interesting. All
But
right,
you
well,
guys, you didn't go to get to this ley line. You did not go in the direction that you went to get to. You went kind of
Yeah, 'cause
northwest
it's a-
as opposed to
it's
going.
a plenty enough
Yeah.
long ley line that yeah.
Well, yeah, you didn't follow the ley line out, right? Like you kind of almost went perpendicular to the ley line to get to it. So, yeah, it's quite a ways. Like you would have gone more northerly to go to where the offering needed to be offered. You went more northwesterly to go to the ley line.
So we are in a position of relative safety as far as distance from the probable lair of this thorn demon.
Yeah,
That's good.
as
That
per
seems tactically
Lex's
sound.
as per Lex's land navigation,
Yes. Okay.
you guys, like Sir Luke could teleport himself using this ley line into the ruins of Guelph, but not necessarily to that nexus because there is no intersecting ley line on this ley line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what Portland was made aware of the first time he was here, that there are no nexus points on this ley line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is it worth going to check out this explosion?
Well, it's certainly something that's in our wheelhouse, perhaps.
Well, I'll bring the bike back down because there's no point in floating up here. Explain
Okay.
to Lex what's going on,
Yeah.
and then ask his opinion on the thing because, I mean, it wouldn't take long as far as, the bike is concerned, but I don't know how much more time Portland needs.
Well, you guys just got here.
Over-
He told you it was a 2-day meditation.
Okay, that's a lot of time. So it becomes a question of, is one or two of us staying here and one or two of us going to check it out, or are we all going to wait and then eventually go see the blown out wreckage 2 days from now?
I say we wait unless that thing starts coming closer, and if it keeps coming closer, then we deal with it. But,
I agree with that.
If it's not attacking us, I would just kind of let it go right now.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
I am a little.
Because really, we're wanting Portland to meditate, so we can go and kill this other thing. If we start going after that, then we're going to get into a conversation of, well, what's good, what's evil there.
Yeah, and then we got to make more stew. It's a
Fuck,
whole
this
thing.
fucking Stu's gonna be with us the whole fucking game, isn't it?
You
Oh,
started
you
it.
know it. It's like the
Jesus
extendable
Christ.
ladder.
Oh my god, the extended one, I forgot about that. Oh
I
my
felt so
god.
bad about that.
It
So,
was awesome. I love that ladder.
It just kept going.
It
so,
did. For 12 feet.
well, 21 feet. Yeah. Anyway.
Or 21 feet, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it one thing to consider is that Portland has just started meditating. It's maybe been a few hours, and so if he continues to meditate for another day, and whatever this terrible thing is comes and disrupts him, then, and you survive, he would have to start over, and he's lost a full day. As opposed to you going, "Hey, Portland, you know what? Let's go check this out now." You've lost a few hours. And if it turns out to be nothing, we can come back. You can start over, right? Like you control. I guess if you go now, you control the time, as opposed to just waiting to see if something happens and him being 44 hours in and all of a sudden losing it all because he gets disrupted.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, our game master would never do that.
We could also go and do some recon just to see what it actually is. Because at this point, it's just explosions.
Could be farting.
Could be.
Well, Well, if that's the case, then why don't I go with you? And if Lex wants to stay and keep guard, we're splitting up the party, which is always a good idea.
That is the one holdup.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Can I telepathically communicate with Portland without disrupting his meditation?
You'd be getting into his head, so you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Probably not for the best.
Yeah. He's trying to open
Funny.
himself up to the ley line, right? So he's trying to glean wisdom from the magic energies coursing through his being. So he's trying to not pay attention to you guys.
Would be funny, but also would be kind of intrusive. I mean, I don't mind going and doing a quick drive-by, but if I get shot out of the air, I am going to be rather soured about it. So this is the kind of thing where we should kind of choose one way or the other. And I mean, on the one hand, the likelihood of them actually coming across us is fairly slim, given that we're out in the middle of nowhere on a ley line. But on the other, there's no way to say for sure. And you're also assuming that this is a bad thing. This might actually end up being, oh, I don't know, another traveling troupe of mind melters and magic dogs, and it could just be us.
Are you
could
talking
be
to yourself or to us?
Yeah.
I am talking to you.
Okay,
It could literally be you guys. Like it could be you guys from
Yeah.
like the future.
Yeah. Opposite day us.
Or it could be, or it
Where we
could be a
get things-
glitter boy just
where we-
trying out his gun.
Yeah, Glitter Boy that sneezed a bit too aggressively.
Exactly.
Which would also actually be very useful.
Could be
Well,
an
I don't-
ally.
So it might actually be
Why
worth...
don't you guys? Why don't you let me go? I can kind of get through all of these trees. I can kind of stay, stay small and all of that kind of stuff.
you
And,
kind of chuckle
I mean,
as you
if
look at
you're-
Lex with his faux camouflage stuck in his fur and stuff like that.
I mean, I...
But
I'm just looking at the-
if you're taking your hover bike and you're just going to fly over top, you're going to be seen by whatever it is. Like you're not, and I mean if Surly takes his horse, right, that's going to be loud and busy through the forest too.
Now,
So I can go from a distance. I can try and see if they're psychic or if they're using magic or whatever's going on.
what would also dawn on those of you of good alignment is that there could be people that are in need of help.
Yeah, that's true too.
Oh, that tears it. He's already on the horse, guys.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're, again, principled to the point of idiocy. It is still potentially
it's not- yeah.
dangerous, right? Like,
Yeah, my character's not dumb. He will certainly
yeah.
be careful.
Or scrupulous to the point of idiocy, right? Like,
Well, if it's only been, like, what, an hour, it's probably worth waking up.
yeah,
Portland.
I'd say it's been a few hours or so, right? Like,
Oh, okay.
but it's still less than, most of it. If you had to start over now, you haven't lost that much. As opposed to, again, in 2 days, whatever that thing is makes its way to you as it makes its way on a straight line to the town you came from, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it
It could be
happens to
friend,
be.
it could be foe. In either instance, it's better that we at least know. By the time,
Ooh, you're a poet.
I know, by the time you get there, Lex, and get back, provided you're not seen. That's if you're not seen. If you're seen, I don't know how to help you at that point.
Run fast, get to us, and we'll deal with it.
How far are we estimating this distance?
You
Yeah,
would
how
have,
far-
Sounds-
if you
sounds like
weren't
a navigation. 120
120 feet up, you would have never seen it. Let's put it that way.
Oh, it's a
you've-
fair ways then.
Yeah, it's quite a distance away.
So this is sounding more and more like should be a group rather than just one of us.
Yeah.
Let's
Hey, well,
snap Portland out of it.
who's gonna go wake up Portland?
Let's draw straws. I suspect he'll be in a bad mood.
As Senate just grabs him out of the air and pulls him to the ground.
Or that, or they could do
I'm
that.
actually looking at my psionics just to see what I can do to bug him.
That's right. Biomanipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys
Like
can.
if ever I needed minor illusion in a different game, this was it.
I'm sure you guys have worked
So
out
many
some
air
way
horns.
of rousing Portland if there's trouble, right? You guys are on guard for a reason. You know, he
Yeah.
wasn't about to sacrifice himself to be able to meditate, to not be able to meditate later. So, if your goal is to get his attention and get him out of his trance, you can do that. That's okay.
Yeah,
So-
that's probably worth doing.
Yeah. So Portland, they rouse you from your trance. You float there above them. They explain everything to you. And you're muted.
I'm just gonna sigh really loudly.
Well, I mean, we figure out what it is, and if it's not dangerous, then you haven't lost a lot of time. But if it is, and it comes this way, you'd lose like 40 hours, and we start from scratch.
Hey, let's go.
All right. And you guys make your way in that direction. Give me a moment here. Where are we? My notes. If you pursue this, what happens? All right. And you guys use the hover bikes and or the horse and make your way. As you get closer, you go over a rise that the trees thin out near the top. You can see this line of smoke rising above the tree line about half a mile away from where you are on that rise after you've traveled for a fair distance. The smell of smoke and burning plastic and oil are tainting the wind, the breeze that blows in your direction. As you go to investigate, you find the wreckage of a small convoy of vehicles that have made their way along a riverbank where the forest is thinned out. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but the entire convoy of vehicles has been destroyed. 2 hover trucks are burnt and mangled husks of metal. Their cargo of ammunition and explosives detonated during the battle. A few burnt trees near the truck. The 2 trucks still smolder and are what's causing the remaining smoke to be visible from the distance as you got closer. A score of trees have been blasted in half or knocked over during what must have been a fierce battle. The brush and several trees near the truck apparently caught fire, but thankfully it hasn't been a very dry fall, and recent rains have prevented the whole forest from going up. 3 Big Boss ATVs, which look like this. And half a dozen Wastelander motorcycles, which look like this.
These are intact or blown apart, you said?
Have been torn to pieces.
Or torn to pieces.
A count
So-
of... Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say a count
No.
of 23 dead can be made, although the exact number are difficult to ascertain since many of the bodies are in the same condition as the motorcycles. Whomever or whatever did this was apparently not after slaves or supplies. The attack was clearly one of wanton destruction or revenge, perhaps. Under the 2 fallen trees are the burnt partial, which is near the trucks that exploded, are the burnt and partial remains of some kind of giant animal. At first glimpse, the hulk seems to be the remains of a huge monster destroyed by a volley of explosives, but under closer inspection, it shows that its bones are made of steel. The wreckage is too demolished to tell much about it other than it was a robot about the size of a house. Anybody got tracking?
I don't think I do.
Yes,
Go
I
Gadget,
do.
Magic Dog.
Yeah, Magic Dog.
Now, would I be trying to sense supernatural or just?
No, just olfactory. You'd be using your nose as opposed to your psychic sense. You can try your psychic sense, but you don't detect any. You detect the ley line, a ways back that you guys came from, but otherwise,
Oh, so close.
Yeah. So yeah, you
Can I try an object read on one of these blown out vehicles?
you can, yeah, for sure, but just hold on. Yeah, and what you do notice, though, the lot of you, is that whatever attacked this wasn't alone. Whatever was here has retreated through the woods. There is a rather large path broken through the woods that can be followed with relative ease. Anybody that has any sort of wilderness training, so if you have wilderness survival or anything like that, you can roll with a plus 10% if you like.
All right, let's do that. Let us do that.
Now, you don't have to follow it right now, but yeah, you will be able to. I mean, you can see the direction that it's generally heading, which is kind of northwest from here. If you want to follow it, you can, or you can continue to look at the salvage.
Well, let's look at the salvage first, and then decide whether or not to follow it.
So you wanted to do an object read there, Senate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll let them know that I'm going to try and see exactly what caused this. I don't know that there'd be any survivors. I don't know that, we'll be able to track this thing. I don't know if you guys want to try and take a look at that. Maybe see if there's any salvageable materials. But I'll be down for the count for a little bit. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm just going to remind you, Senator, that object read works best on things that have an emotional attachment. So a vehicle might not be the best thing to do it on, perhaps.
Yeah, I might
Look for a
go
teddy
to
bear.
one of the bodies and pick up a trinket or something personalized.
Well, what you can pry out of one of the body's hands is a rifle, an energy rifle of some sort. You're not quite familiar with it, but you can pry it out of his hands and
Sure.
hold on to that. It looks like he was probably using it to defend himself, and that would probably hold some emotional resonance. So we'll get you to roll your percentage after you transfer a little bit here, but first I'll describe to the rest what they find if they are sifting through things. And
Sifting through.
yeah, so it'll take some time to move stuff. You and Lex, Sir Luke, are rather strong, but with your mind melter meditating on object read rather than being available for telekinesis, it will take some time to move things and dig around. But what you'll find after about an hour or so of sifting through the rubble are 2 containers of 30 gallons of gasoline that have not been ignited and burnt off. There's probably, let's see. Another 5 energy clips that seem to fit the weapon that that Senate is holding, which again is an energy rifle unfamiliar to you. There are 2 Wilkes laser pistols, 320 laser pistols that have a full energy clip into them, and 2 bolt action hunting rifles. About 6 knives, like survival knives, a pair of binoculars, a toolkit, and a jug of moonshine that you find. Everything else has been destroyed or damaged beyond usefulness. And as I said, there are no survivors. So, Senate, you can give me that roll here. Yeah, so you're not able to glean anything off of this.
I did find this new rifle, though.
Yeah, and do you have recognized weapon quality at all?
Oh, I doubt it.
Check your skills. Everybody can check their skills. If they have it, they'll be able to try to identify this.
I'm almost certain I don't have it because I don't think I saw it before. But
That seems like entirely too useful of a skill.
Nope.
Yeah. No.
I thought about getting it, and then I decided not to.
It's probably worth bringing it back to town at the end of all this and letting them have a look at it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to bring them back the gas too because they could probably use that.
Yeah,
yes.
It's an interesting energy rifle. The clip kind of slides in the front of it, and it's very well balanced for shooting if you're using both hands. You actually get a bonus because it's easier to stabilize. So if you can shoot an energy rifle, whoever can, it's certainly a useful.
can.
Yeah, it's certainly a nice weapon. It's certainly not Coalition make or Northern Gun or Wilkes, but it's well balanced. And as you sit there looking at these things and discussing the booty, Lex and Senate, your sixth sense goes off, so you can remove 2 ISP.
Since it's been a couple hours, have we recharged any?
You get 2 ISP back per hour.
So how many would I have gotten back?
I guess if your sixth sense just went off, you would have got back 4, but then you just spent.
Okay.
So however many for your object read. But now then take off 2 more for sixth sense that just got triggered.
Okay. So I've taken off 2 and added 4, so that balances. Okay.
Yep. Something bad is coming in the next few seconds.
Can I kind of warn them and then cast my fancy new... Where did it go? Oh, I didn't. I thought I did. Clairvoyance, exorcism, telekinetic. Where's my third one? Control fear or whatever it's called.
Oh, we forgot to put it on there.
Oh.
Sorry. We'll put it on there.
That's okay.
What happens is that as you're shouting out the warning, a gigantic creature lunges out from a cluster of trees.
Ooh.
And stands before you.
What does it look like?
It stands snorting in the path. It towers 25 feet tall at the shoulders and is 40 feet long. And you recognize it immediately.
Oh, fucking rhino buffalo? Damn it, anyways.
I woke up for this.
Yeah, it has one huge horn in the middle of its forehead, huge hairy humped shoulders, small rear haunches, and massive clawed feet. Laser blasts and scars mark its body. And you recognize it as a rhino buffalo. Slobber drips from its mouth as it speaks. Snarling in perfect American, it says, more humans. And it attacks. And with that...
See, that's not a normal...
No, that ain't normal.
With that, we will end this particular scenario. Thank you to anyone who has joined us. We appreciate you. Please hit that subscribe. Tell your friends. Hit the bell for notification for the next episode of our Rifts actual play. I'm Magnum Pi. I am here as always with Teku, Golgotha, Vahilo, and Dark Templar. And we are Initiative 0.